your host Elizibar, and today is a very special episode of, not that it's part of anything, but I'm going to talk about why I got out of academics. I like to title this, Why I Quit Science, but that's kind of hyperbolic. I got some notes here. I'm not going to follow them too closely. They're just there to remind me of like timelines and stuff. But I get asked this question, mostly in real life, and sometimes online. Like someone's like, but I thought you were an astrophysicist. And it's like, yes, I am. I don't do that anymore, but I am. And the truth is, there's a lot of reasons I got out of the academic rat race. For one thing, it's the academic rat race. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about like the individual things because they're not important. It's kind of the big picture is what matters. Months ago, back in January, I got the January 27th issue of Science, and there was a story in it that illustrates exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Back in 2013, a new student joined a research group at a prestigious lab at Harvard, and he was doing good stuff, cruising along, doing all the things that you're supposed to do in academics to become a real academic. The lab he worked in, tell you the kind of stuff he was doing, worked on diseases like Alzheimer's. This is like big, heavy stuff. It's important. As far as anyone else knew, things were going great with that guy. My exact quote is, things were going fine until the student in question started acting weird. And by weird, I mean he had an apoplectic fit when another student asked him to do some little boring prep work for him. That happens. People ask for help all the time. It's a perfectly normal part of academics. Hey, can you help me with this thing? Oh, sure, not a problem. I will help you with that thing. Another student there came to believe that he was actually sabotaging her experiments, which is a pretty uncool thing. It turns out that in 2015, this particular student had attended a seminar or a class in ethics and scientific conduct, and then he remembered some hazy conversation from a couple years ago where a couple of people might have been talking about some alleged data fabrication that had happened. And that sent him off on the tangent. In 2016, he filed formal charges against people, and the university started an investigation. This is, so far, this part of the story is normal. This is exactly how science is supposed to work. Oh, that thing's wrong. We should correct it. There is a mechanism for correcting that. I have to talk to this person. Not a big deal. It's perfectly normal stuff. It's how it's supposed to work. But what happened after that is totally not how it's supposed to work. The dude totally flipped out. That's what I have written down. The dude flipped out. He got weird. The anger, messing with other people's stuff, these are not cool in a laboratory setting. He got paranoid. He acted weird. People were talking about him behind his back, trying to figure out what was going on. Hey, you know what's going on with this guy? I don't know, man. He's being weird. The guy got so scared that he thought the boyfriend of one of the people he was accusing was going to beat him up. I don't know why he'd do that, because, if you get beat up, that's an actual crime. You can file charges with the police, and that guy would just go to jail. There are ways to deal with that. And he went total recluse mode, stopped showing up for work, stopped doing anything. And, people were wondering why they thought he was weird. Or, well, he thought. You know what I mean. So his boss, the person running the lab, in charge of this guy's academic career, making his future great and bright and stuff, talked to a psychiatrist about it. Turns out that in Massachusetts, where Harvard's located, a doctor can order a psych exam without actually talking to a patient. I didn't know that till I read this. So the cops showed up at the guy's house and took him in for a psych eval. After that, Harvard barred him from the lab until the situation was resolved. So he sued because he's like, hey, I need to work on my stuff. Okay. So as of the point where I last paid attention to this thing, which was actually this article, because I haven't been able to follow up on it, he'd won his lawsuit, so he can get in the lab, but now his boss, the supervisor, is barred from his own laboratory. So the first part of that, okay, he can go back to work, that's fine. But then his boss can't. So now the 30 or however many people working in that laboratory with his boss doing research with him can't do any research. Their boss is on the other side of campus, more like, 250 yards or a half mile, however big the restraining order was, away. So if they want to work with him, they can't be in their lab. It's their lab. It's his lab. Why is somebody barred from his own facility? Is that fair to those people? No. Is it fair to the whistleblowing student? Now he's got this big, black mark on him. Oh, this is the guy that ruined 30 people's career. You think any of them are going to want to work with him again? You think any of their friends or colleagues are going to work with him again? No, probably not. When you're in that kind of situation, you do the whistleblower thing, you can't really expect to keep working in the same place. Like, that seems like that should be common sense. Oh no, we're not going to want you here anymore. I mean, there are laws against retaliation, but it's going to happen. Probably what the guy should have done, what I would have done, is just actually went and been like, hey, I think there's something wrong with what you guys were doing. Let's hash it out. Instead, he was a sneaky sneak and went behind everybody's back, and he caused a lot of pain and suffering and sorrow, probably some ruined careers. And he could have just resolved this by going to another lab, salvaging what he could from his work, getting his doctoral thesis, and getting out of there. I don't know. I think I have the word academic rat race written down on the next page. Yeah, there it is. And this guy, this crazy dude, kind of reminds me of some of the people I work with. The professor that he worked for also reminds me of some people I work with. It's like, I don't want to be around people that go sneak behind people's backs and do things. And in academics, a lot of people are like that, because academics is really like a knife fight for these increasingly small stakes. Everybody is trying to get a cut of their grant money. Grant money is hard to come by. You have to write huge proposals. You have to know the right people. The whole process is supposed to be anonymous, but it's not. Everybody knows who everybody is when you submit a grant. Tenure is dead or dying. That's the nice way to put it, but it's more likely it's just flat out dead. Faculty abrogated so many of their responsibilities to staff that there's no point to having tenured faculty anymore. The staff runs the place. The administrative staff is soaking up more and more budget. There's less and less budget for professors, for students. It's essentially like being enslaved. I mean, you still get money. You get a little pittance, like a $14,000 stipend. No benefits, nothing good. Why would you do that job? Postdocs and adjunct faculty, almost all new positions fit into one of those two groups. You make no money, you have no benefits, you get no time off, and you're never going to get tenure. You're just not. Maybe like 1 out of 100 hires is still on some kind of tenure track, but nobody else is. So why would I work that hard for that little money, like 80-hour weeks, make no money, and have no career prospects when I can go somewhere else and make 2 or 3 times that, have actual benefits, and only work 40-hour weeks? Yeah. It's either mind-blowing or just a rhetorical question. So I'm pretty glad to be out of that kind of stuff. I still wish I was working on those kinds of projects. I really like solving problems. I like solving interesting problems. I'm a member of the AAAS, so I still get science every week. I still read the thing. I'm a member of the APS, so I get Physics Today. I read that cover to cover. Those are always full of interesting and cool topics. I'm very interested in science. I just don't do it for a living anymore because it don't pay. All right, that's enough heart to heart. I'll see you guys next time. You have a great day. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Until then, bye-bye.